Many times we need to keep our health in check, but don't know what questions to ask or where to begin. We walk in blindly to our healthcare provider and walk out none the wiser, and maybe even more confused than before. Can you take charge of your health and arm yourself with the questions and preparedness you need? The answer is yes. Welcome to Occupy Health with Dr. Susan Downs. This program will answer your questions and give you the best practices for facing your medical partner in good health. Now, here's Dr. Susan Downs.
This is Occupy Health with Dr. Susan. Last time we learned from Dr. Campbell, the Canadians won't accept our cheese because of what we feed our animals. The Europeans won't accept our meat for the same reason. What is going on? Why is our standard food not good enough for other countries? I mean, we've heard about the standard American diet, abbreviated SAD, but now I understand in some circles they're calling it HAD, the horrible American diet. But even more important is, why did Congress vote that we can't find out about an extremely troublesome ingredient, genetically modified materials, that we can't even find out if we're eating it? Could this be connected to the recent downturn in U.S. life expectancy? I wonder. Today I'll be talking with Raymond Francis. We have the honor of having him here. He has been cited as one of the few scientists who has achieved a breakthrough understanding of health and disease. A graduate of MIT, he's the author of 5 cutting-edge books on health. These include the international bestseller, Never Be Sick Again, The Great American Health Hoax, Never Fear Cancer Again, Never Feel Old Again, and Never Be Fat Again. Simplifying health and taking the mystery out of disease, his books are decades ahead of the standard medical practice. Raymond has appeared in over 2,000 radio and television shows. He lectures all over the world and was a syndicated talk show host for 16 years. The late astronaut, Dr. Edgar Mitchell, the 6th man to walk the moon, said this about Raymond. Raymond Francis is a brilliant, advanced thinker and an international treasure. He transforms the way we think about health, disease, bringing hope and inspiration to those who seek the path out of illness to sustained health and well-being. Welcome, Francis. We are so glad that you're here.
Well, I'm glad you invited me. Thank you very much. It's fabulous to be here in this wonderful new year, and it's such an exciting. It's going to be an exciting year, so I'm looking forward to it.
Oh, and I bet you're going to contribute to the excitement and help us all.
We're trying.
Oh, good. I'd like to ask you about one of your books. What does it mean that aging is a mistake?
Well, everything ages. The universe ages. So, and that's normal and that's natural. But what we're doing in our society with the horrible American diet is we are aging prematurely. And that is a mistake. That's a big mistake. We're now measuring 30-year-olds who have the biological markers of 80-year-olds. A few years ago, we did a study of 10-year-olds. They were overweight 10-year-olds. They had the biological markers of 45-year-olds. So if you're 45 years old when you're 10, what are you going to be when you're 50? And if you're 80 years old when you're 30, what are you going to be? Where are you going to be when you're 60? This is unacceptable. This is a mistake, and as a result, we have this enormous epidemic of chronic degenerative disease. We have an enormous number of people who are physically disabled and not able to care for their daily needs, and so they need caregivers, and they end up in nursing homes, and that is totally unacceptable. That is a huge mistake. We have to stop making that mistake because it's driving us into bankruptcy. We can't pay for it. The number of old people keeps increasing. By the year 2050, there's going to be more old people in the world than young people. And 10,000 Americans retire every single day, 10,000 a day. And they're expecting to get Social Security. They're expecting to get Medicare. We can't pay for it. There aren't enough young people coming along to pay the bills. So we're all going bankrupt because we're making this huge mistake of getting old. Premature aging is just chewing us up, and we have to stop it.
How can we stop this? What's going wrong?
Well, real easy. Again, it starts with the horrible American diet. You see, all living things are self-repairing. If they weren't, they wouldn't be alive. So all living things are self-repairing, and the human body is self-repairing. And so that's how you stay biologically young. Even though you become chronologically older every year, you do not have to become biologically older every year. And for example, I'm going to be 80 years old in just a couple of months. I now have the arteries of a 22-year-old, and my goal is to have the arteries of a teenager. So what you need to do is keep your biological age younger than your chronological age. And the way you do that is to keep the body in repair mode. We put wear and tear on your body every single day, every moment of every day. It's just like you put wear and tear on your car when you're driving it. You're wearing out the tires, you're wearing out the brakes, you put wear and tear. The thing is that when you park the car in the garage overnight, it doesn't self-repair, unfortunately, and at least mine doesn't. But your body does. You go to bed at night, you get up in the morning, and you're as good as new. If you have given your body all of the repair materials it needs, and if you have kept all the repair machinery functioning normally. So that's how you stay biologically young, and that's how you can actually reverse the aging process and become biologically younger. And that's by putting the body into repair mode. And there is where the horrible American diet plays a huge role, because where do these repair materials come from? They come from your diet. We have a horrible diet, so we don't do the repairs, and we get old. Even our children are old. We got 10-year-olds who are 45 years old. I mean, this is crazy. So we have to start paying attention to eating a better diet, getting on a high-quality supplement program. You can no longer get what you need from your food. That's now impossible. So everybody must supplement, but you must supplement with high-quality supplements. So give the body the repair materials it needs, and then pay attention to protecting the repair machinery from damage. And here, the average American is in toxic overload. These toxins shut down the repair machinery. They damage the repair machinery. They damage the communications that tell the machinery what to do. So we have to learn where the toxins are, stop putting them in our body, and start getting them out of our body so that we can get the repair machinery working as it should work. And all of my books, by the way, all my books explain how to eat a good diet, how to get the toxins out of your life, and so that this is very, very fundamental to your biochemistry.
Well, this sounds quite amazing. So it sounds like our body has a natural detox repair ability that you say goes on at night. And so if we do not have a lot of toxins, we can handle the toxins that we run into?
Yes, absolutely. The body has excellent detoxification capabilities. The problem is this: we're overloading it. This is unprecedented. That never in the history of the world have we been exposed to so many toxic chemicals. And we have overloaded our body's ability to detoxify these chemicals. And also, here again, the horrible American diet comes in. In order to detoxify, let's say, a pesticide molecule, it takes a whole bunch of other molecules to help to detoxify that one pesticide molecule. Where do the other molecules come from? Your diet. When you eat the horrible American diet, you don't have what you need to help the body's detox system to work properly. So not only are we putting these chemicals in faster than we can possibly get rid of them. But we're also shutting down the repair machinery, shutting down the detoxification machinery for lack of nutrients. So it's all it comes around and goes around. But we've created a very, very serious problem where almost every American is sick today to one degree or another. Less than 1% of the U.S. population is really healthy. More than 3 out of 4 Americans have a diagnosable chronic disease. If you're over age 65, 90% of us have a diagnosable chronic disease. So this is what we've created for ourselves, and it's bankrupting the country.
Well, let's get back to the economics later. But you say less than 1% of us is healthy. I mean, we've had previous speakers, or Mark Houston was saying that we could have heart disease before the doctor's measurements will notice it. Dr. Trindade said that we can have the 4 times increased risk for dementia and heart disease that diabetics have without any symptoms, without any abnormal lab values before the doctor even measures it. So what do you mean that 1% is healthy? What does healthy mean?
Well, what does healthy mean? Okay, so what is health? We're all made of these little microscopic units of life called cells. We started life as one single cell in our mother. And when we started life, if that one cell was functioning normally, then we were healthy. It's no different today. If all of your multi-trillions of cells are functioning normally, you're healthy and you cannot be sick. The only way you can be sick is when a large number of cells begin to malfunction because they're deficient, not getting what they need to function properly, and because they're toxic. Toxins that are interfering with the metabolic machinery, interfering with the communications. So when we go out to measure people, and they've done these studies, by the way, to see how many Americans are really functioning as they should, it's less than 1%. Everybody, and you ask people, go out on the street and ask people, are you in good or excellent health? 2 out of 3 people will tell you, oh, I'm in good or excellent health. I have people that I meet socially at a cocktail party or something, and they look like a disaster area, and they'll tell you they're in good health. It's this massive delusion. Our definition of health is you're vertical and you're functioning, and disease is you're horizontal in bed, and that's well, not so. Health is when all your cells are functioning normally, and that's less than 1% of the U.S. population today.
So how can we tell if we're healthy?
Well, you can measure. You can measure all these things, and you can. There's a whole bunch of biological markers you can measure to see if somebody's really functioning normally. And there's simple things. I mean, in my books, for especially my last book, The Great American Health Hoax, that has a whole chapter in it on the maintenance list. In other words, how do you maintain a human body? And it has a whole chapter telling you how to maintain the human body so that it won't age and it won't get sick. One of the things that you need to do is measure your pH. Now, that's so simple. Anybody can do it. Just take a little piece of pH paper and measure your first morning urine and see what it is. If your pH is not normal, you are sick.
But normal's got a wide range. You mentioned in some of your talks it's 6.5 to 7.5, right. So that's a pretty large range.
Well, large, but
But
reasonable.
most people fall in there.
Not huge, and you would be amazed at how many people don't make that. So that's just one measurement.
But I've heard some people say that if you're, unless you're really, some values that you would say are normal, that some people are really upset and say, no, those are really bad. So what is an optimal pH reading of your urine, and what times of the day do you take it?
Well, you take it the first morning, first urine of the morning, before you've had anything to eat or drink. And then it should be between 6.5 and 7.5. Now, ideally, if it was about 7, that would be ideal. but 6.5 to 7.5 pretty much gets you in a healthy range. Once you start dropping below 6.5, and you'd be amazed at how many Americans are below 6.5, you're sick, even though you don't know it. You're sick because the pH affects an enormous amount of chemistry. And once it drops below normal, you are affecting all of that chemistry adversely. So your body is no longer functioning properly. You don't know it. Maybe you don't have, the problem is most Americans don't know what it feels like to be healthy because they've never been healthy. So they're sick and they don't know it because they've never been healthy. They don't know what it feels like to be truly healthy.
So as we start aching and we start feeling tired, which we associate with age, are you saying that that's not normal?
That's disease. That's not normal. That's disease. Well, look at me. At age 46, I went to my doctor and complained that I was feeling tired. The doctor did thousands of dollars worth of testing. I came back for the next visit. He sat there gleefully behind his desk and said, "You're in perfect health." Wait a minute. I'm tired. How can I be in perfect health? The doctor said, "You're getting older." I said, "Doc, I've never felt this way before in my life." He said, "You've never been
we're
so
coming
before."
close to a break now. So the doctor's concept of health does not seem to coincide exactly with this model of health. But we're coming to a break now, and we'll come right back and continue this conversation.
Now, back to this week's program.
So, your doctor was saying that you were the epitome of health, but yet you weren't feeling totally healthy.
That's right. See, they have no idea how to measure health when it's in its initial decline. And I can tell you that how much energy your body can produce is probably the single most important measurement that you can make of health. And so what should have been, when I told my doctor I was tired, that should have set off alarm bells. I mean, sirens, bells, everything. He should have sprung into action to find out what was wrong and fix it. And yet, instead, he said, "You're getting older." And this man was a professor at the Harvard Medical School. So This is the level of ignorance that we teach to our medical students. And it's still going on. I mean, it's pretty awful out there. How much energy you can produce is probably the single most important measure of your health.
And how do you measure that?
You can measure it. There are ways. I have a friend where they put you on a treadmill, if you will, and they feed oxygen into the body, a measured amount of oxygen, and then they measure the amount of carbon dioxide coming out, and they actually measure how efficiently you're converting that oxygen into energy. And so you can measure it.
So what are some simple tests that our audience can do or have their doctors do for them that might be more readily available?
If you can't run up 5 or 6 flights of stairs and feel terrific after you finished it, you're sick.
Oh my!
You've think of a 20-year-old athlete. That's energy. That's how much energy we're all supposed to have. And here I was, at age 46 feeling tired. At age 48, I almost died. At age 48, I had so little energy that I wasn't able to move. I actually was not able to move. I was just laying there in bed. And now I'm going to be 80 years old, and I have the energy of a 20-year-old. I mean, I just bounce around like a rubber ball. I go all over the world. I go on long bike rides. I swim. I've got boundless energy. I'm never tired.
How did you get all your energy back? How did you reverse all your aging markers?
Real simple. You shift back into repair mode, and then you actually become biologically younger, and you get stronger and healthier, and your immune system gets strong. I've had 3 colds in the last 32 years. 32 years. I've had 3 colds, and I have a good excuse for each cold, by the way. It's inexcusable to have a cold. No one should ever have a cold.
Really?
You've got to keep your immune system strong.
How do you do that? What does a listener actually do to start reversing this aging process?
Well, you said it at the beginning of the show. Get the horrible American diet out of your life and start eating real food.
But you say our food does not have enough content in it. That
is correct.
Why is that?
For a number of reasons. One of them is the soils. The soils are now all depleted of minerals. Give you an example. If you eat a carrot today, you have to eat 20 carrots today to get the same amount of zinc you got in 1 carrot 50 years ago. So you see the problem. The soils are depleted of minerals. You have to eat 4 carrots to get the same amount of magnesium you got in 1 carrot 50 years ago. And I got to tell you, more than 80% of the American population is deficient in magnesium. And this is a critical mineral. You have to supplement. And when I realized this, and I started trying to supplement, the supplements I took actually made me sick. And then I started looking at, why is this happening? And it was pretty, this great moment of, oh my God, they're doing it all wrong. And so I actually formulate my own supplements, my own vitamins and minerals, and I sell them under the Beyond Health brand, beyondhealth.com. And that's what keeps me going. I take my own supplements, my own vitamins and minerals, and it just keeps me in fantastic shape.
What are the vitamins and supplements? What did they do wrong? What is it we're taking that's making us worse?
Well, they they try to save money, and what they do is they make them out of synthetic chemicals. And the government allows them to do that. And it really doesn't work because in biology, the shape of the molecule is critical to how that molecule is metabolized in the body. We work with enzymes. Enzymes are like a lock into which you put a key. So you have to have the right lock and put in the right key, and when you do that, you get magic. You get biological magic. The problem with most vitamins is that they're synthetics and they're the wrong shape, and so they don't work. For example, and in chemistry we even give them, we call them right-handed molecules and left-handed molecules. We even in nature, beta carotene is a 100% right-handed molecule. When you synthesize beta carotene, you get 100% left-handed molecule. The left-handed molecule doesn't work. So then you put that into the vitamin pill, it doesn't work. And yet the government says this is okay because you're putting in beta carotene. Yeah, but it's the wrong shape. and same thing, vitamin C. It gets so hard to get good vitamin C. I can't tell you how much time and effort I spend on the quality of my Beyond Health vitamin C. The shape of the molecule that vitamin C that the body uses is L-ascorbate. It's a left-handed molecule. Many vitamin C that you buy will have right-handed molecules in it, and will have combinations of molecules. So right off the bat, very often 50% of what's in the product is biologically worthless, and sometimes even worse than that. So it's a problem, and that's why I started to make my own vitamins, and now I literally make some of the best vitamins in the world. My peers tell me that my multivitamin is probably the best multivitamin in the world.
Wow. And I also
take it every
understand
day.
from some of your material that if you take a synthetic vitamin B12, it actually lowers the body's values of B12?
Yes. Well, very, very good point. Vitamin B12 is another case in point. 90% of the vitamin B12 on the market is in the form of cyanocobalamin. This is a synthetic molecule. The body doesn't know how to handle it. It's never seen it before. And when it tries to handle it and takes it apart, the cyano part of the molecule breaks off, and that's cyanide.
Wow.
So you're
Really?
actually being poisoned with cyanide when you take B12. So you have to take the right B12. I mean, you can buy B12 for $65 a pound. The B12 I use is $7,500 a pound.
Wow.
So there's a difference, and the average person that doesn't understand the chemistry doesn't understand the differences. So they go down to the store and they buy, the cheapest brand they can buy, not realizing that it's not going to work. They're just wasting their money. And in fact, the top-selling brands in the world are biologically worthless.
Wow. So tell us, let's have the listener have some specifics to take away with them. So what in our diet do we avoid?
Well, the biggest number, people often ask me, if there's just one thing you're going to do, what would you do? And the answer is get the sugar out of your life.
Sugar? We love sugar.
Sugar is a deadly metabolic poison. It is so poisonous it should be removed from the market.
Why?
At the very, very least, it should be a controlled substance. We don't allow children to purchase tobacco products. We don't allow children to purchase alcohol. And yet we allow them to purchase products with sugar in it, and sugar is far, far more dangerous than alcohol and tobacco.
I believe Dr. Lustig at UCSF had the same quote. So what is wrong with sugar? Well, it just tastes so good.
It does.
Oh.
And it's addictive. It's very, very addictive, by the way. It's somewhere around 8 times as addictive as heroin and cocaine. Most people are actually addicted to sugar, and they don't know. They don't understand it. They don't have a clue. But they keep eating it. Well, what's wrong with it is that the body is not designed to metabolize refined sugar. If you eat an apple that has sugar in it, eat an orange that has sugar in it, the body can handle that. But when you have refined sugar, and especially the corn syrup that is used so ubiquitously today, the refined sugars the body really can't handle, and it throws the body into biochemical chaos. It upsets vitamin chemistry. It upsets mineral chemistry. It upsets your hormone chemistry. It acidifies the body. It does so many detrimental things and it lowers your immunity. A couple of teaspoons of sugar will lower your immunity by 50% for hours. And then people say, "Oh, I caught a cold." No, you didn't catch a cold. You gave it to yourself by eating sugar or doing some other dumb thing.
What about artificial sweeteners, stevia or aspartame?
Terrible, worse. Well, stevia isn't too bad. Stevia is a natural product, but unfortunately a lot of the people who package it will package it with sugar and other things. But pure stevia is a natural product, and it's okay in moderation. But the artificial sweeteners mostly are even worse than the sugar.
So are these toxins?
Oh, yes. Very, very toxic. Very toxic.
What are some other toxic things that get into our body?
What's that?
What other toxic things in our lifestyle and diet should we be aware of?
Well, if you really want to clean up your diet, get the sugar out, get the wheat out.
Wheat? Why? What's wrong with wheat?
Well, it's a pretty deadly poison. Wheat was originally a food, and what we've done is we've hybridized the wheat, and we've increased the protein content of the wheat And part of the protein content is a class called gluten, and another is lectins, and the body can't handle gluten or lectins. So what we've done is we've taken things that are toxic to the body and we've increased them. And now people eat, the average person eats about 160 pounds of wheat, 200 pounds of wheat a year, 200 pounds of wheat. So you're eating 200 pounds of toxic poison. And so get the wheat out of your life.
What about oils, processed oils?
Those are horrible. Processed oils, if you really and truly want to have cancer, the best way to get cancer is to rush off to the supermarket and buy those oils at the supermarket and put them in your diet. The sunflower oil, the safflower oil, the canola oil, the soybean oil, the corn oil. All of these oils are inappropriate for human biology, and they will cause cancer.
What oils can we eat?
Well, food. The problem is the average person doesn't know what food is because we don't eat very much of it. Fresh fruits and vegetables and legumes and nuts and seeds, and that's what you need to be putting into your diet.
So no oils at all? Coconut oil?
Oh, you need oil. Coconut oil, good, high-quality coconut oil is very good. High-quality olive oil, very good, but very difficult to obtain. You just can't go to a store and buy olive oil. It just doesn't happen. There's no olive oil in the supermarket. There's no olive oil in most health food stores. It's all phony baloney stuff. I wrote a whole article on this, by the way, called The Olive Oil Scandal, that's available on the Internet, and it'll open your eyes as to what's wrong with the olive oil industry. And that was, again, The Olive Oil Scandal. So learn, and again, all of my books tell you what oils not to eat and what oils to eat. And if you do that, you change your chemistry.
We're coming to a break, so we will continue with this when we come back. And this is such good information. I didn't know a lot of this, so we'll be back.
You are listening to Occupy Health with Dr. Susan Downs. We'd love to hear from you about today's show. Send your email to Dr. Susan at occupyhealth.com. That's Dr. Susan at occupyhealth.com. Now, back to this week's program.
Gee, you say the oils we get in the supermarket are not as healthy as they propose. I mean, like there's some supermarkets that say they're extremely healthy. Is that the truth? Is there any healthy food in these supermarkets?
Essentially, no. There might be by accident, but the food supply is pretty bad at this point. I lived in California for 25 years, where we had farmers markets where farmers would freshly harvest organic foods, bring them down to the farmers market, and sell them to you at less than 24 hours old. That's food. And I now live in Florida. There's no food in Florida at all. I mean, it's just.
So what do you eat?
You eat, what I try to do is I try to eat, the food here is mostly garbage, so I try to pick the highest quality garbage I can pick, and that's what I eat. I eat high quality garbage. But
so how do we know which garbage is of the highest quality?
Well, I've got decades worth of experience to figure that out. Age is very, very important, so you need to see where something comes from. And most of the produce here comes from California, comes from Mexico, by the time it gets here, it's old because, you harvest something and half the nutrition is gone in 2 to 3 days.
Wow.
You're eating stuff here on average that's 2 weeks old.
Wow.
So, yeah, so what...
So we need to check with your books to find out what's high-quality garbage and what's not.
Yeah, right. Well, my books tell you all that. And they tell you what not to eat and what not to eat. If it's, for example, I'll eat a non-organic avocado, for example, but I won't eat a non-organic apple because the apples are so heavily sprayed.
Yes, we went through the Dirty Dozen last week, where the dirtiest vegetables and fruits were mentioned. Strawberries heading the list, that these are so full of insecticides that they're not good. And avocado led the list of the healthy. So that is in last week's interview with Dr. Andrew Campbell. But speaking of pesticides, can't you get rid of like 80% of the pesticides that we're exposed to just by avoiding unhealthy animal products?
Absolutely. Avoid meat and dairy, and 80% of your pesticides are out of your life.
All meat or dairy, or just non-organic?
Well, dairy is not a food anyway, so don't eat dairy. And then meat, if you're going to eat meat, it should be organically produced meat.
Meaning no pesticides.
And no pesticides, exactly.
Okay.
Regular meat is loaded with pesticides.
So you say we don't eat dairy at all, like cow's milk is for cows and
right? Yeah, cow's milk
for
is
humans.
For cows, and it's not for people. And if you eat it, you're going to get sick. What
about yogurt or kefir?
Well, those were traditionally good foods, but it's hard to get them. Most yogurt is not yogurt. In fact, I did a study a few years back to try and find a national or a regional brand of yogurt in the United States, and I could not find a single national or regional brand of yogurt in the United States.
What about raw milk?
Well, raw milk could be okay if you make your own. Get raw milk from and primarily, it'd be best if it was raw goat milk. And then you could make your own kefir out of it, and that would work. Those are traditionally healthy foods because the bacteria work on the protein molecules. But cow's milk is not appropriate for human beings. The chemistry of cow's milk is so radically, vastly different from the chemistry of human milk that humans simply can't metabolize it. And it just causes one problem after another. Now,
so cow's milk can be considered a toxin?
Oh, absolutely. Cow's milk is a toxin.
Wow.
So that's what we drink, and we feed it to our children. Now we wonder why the kids are all sick. Well,
so it sounds like what we need to do is what the other speakers are recommending, an organic diet with as many colors as possible, as fresh as possible. And how do we supplement with nutrients? How do we know which ones to get?
Well, it's everybody, even the National Academy of Sciences, says that everybody should be on at least a good multivitamin. So that's right from the National Academy of Sciences, and they realize that it's no longer possible to get what you need from food alone. So you need a multivitamin, and then you need extra vitamin C. So if you're going to just do a minimum, absolute minimum, those are the two things you should be on, a good multivitamin and a good high-quality vitamin C. And beyond that, there's a lot of other things. But the most important is today to select brands that will give you what you need. Almost all the vitamin C in the world today is made in China. And I can tell you, they're not making it in ways that I approve of. I jump through hoops to maintain the quality of my vitamin C. And, of course, I take a lot of vitamin C, and most people should be. And if it's not high quality, then you're getting a lot of toxins, and you're getting a lot of allergens, and you're getting a lot of stuff in your vitamin C, so you're not really doing yourself a lot of good. So I would recommend my own brand, and that's the Beyond Health brand, and it's beyondhealth.com is a place to go and take a look at it.
Sounds like that's a pretty important place to go.
It is because, well, not only do we have very, very high-quality products, but we also have a lot of good information, and you can sign up to get good information. And then my own personal website, RaymondFrancisAuthor.com, and there alone you can subscribe to it and get tremendous information every week at RaymondFrancisAuthor.com.
But one little sidebar is I read some of your material that you say toothpaste is toxic. The stuff we put in our mouth to brush our teeth, you're saying is toxic?
Well, it contains toxic chemicals. So again, knowledge is power, and There are safe brands of toothpaste, so buy a safe brand. Don't buy the toxic brands. That's
But
real
didn't
simple.
you say that if you have more than a certain amount of toothpaste, you're supposed to call poison control?
Well, exactly. You right on the box of most toothpaste. Read the box, and it'll tell you if you swallow, a little bit of this, call the Poison Control Center.
Oh, wow.
One tube of toothpaste is sufficient to kill a small child.
Wow.
Yeah, pretty. And people put this in their mouth every day. That's crazy.
It is.
If you can't eat it, you shouldn't be putting it in your mouth. And so there are safe brands of toothpaste. So use the safe brands. And then there's safe brands of all kinds of safe brands of shampoo. Shampoo is very dangerous. It contains chemicals, go right through the skin, poison you. And every day the toxic load in your body gets higher and higher and higher. And by the time you're in your 60s, you're really, really, really over the top toxic, and now you're getting arthritis, and you're getting cancer, and you're getting all kinds of diseases, and your doctor doesn't say, well, why did you brush your teeth with a bad brand? No, the doctor just gives you pills that make you even sicker.
So how do we know what products are safe?
Well, again, all of my books, and if you subscribe to my websites, we tell you all these things on a continuous basis. What's safe and what's not safe. I use a toothpaste brand called Weleda, Weleda. It's a German brand, and I've used that for years and years. It's a safe brand. It's good stuff.
Well, now that I feel like a walking sack of toxins, what do I do to start getting some of these out of my body if I'm not detoxifying enough when I'm asleep?
Well, you need to sauna. And this is something, again, most people don't realize that a sauna, in fact, I have a friend who's a toxicologist, and she says saunas are now a household necessity. I have a sauna here in my home. I sauna for an hour to an hour and a half, 2 to 3 times a week. We can't measure my toxic load. We try to measure it. There's nothing there. And
Amazing.
that's one of the reasons I'm so healthy, and I have so much energy, and I feel so fabulous, and I don't get sick. So you need to sauna. The only way we know how to get rid of these oil-soluble toxins that we're accumulating is with a sauna. So everybody needs to be doing a sauna on a regular basis. Now, if you can't afford to have one in your home, or if you don't have room for one, then join a health club or join a gym. Go where you can get a regular sauna because it's absolutely necessary. You cannot live without it anymore.
What about one of these small personal saunas where you sit in this little plastic container with a little engine in it?
Some of them are okay, some of them are not. I've looked at the technologies, and there's a couple of them that look pretty good, but there's a lot of others that just sort of look gimmicky to me.
So how do we know which is which? Because they were less than $800.
Hard to know. I'd have to go look at each brand and tell you. It's not something I've formally done. Whenever I'm out there, I look at them and I say, well, yeah, this one looks pretty good, but I never really note it down very much. But the problem is that we're not doing this. People don't know that they need to sauna. They don't know that the toxic level in their body is increasing every single year. And it finally increases to the point where it interrupts all of your chemistry, and you get very, very sick. And then you go to the doctor, and the doctor gives you more toxic chemicals that make you even sicker. That's not the way to go.
So you're saying pills are toxic?
Is what?
You're saying medications are toxic?
Absolutely. All medications are toxic. Prescription drugs are toxic chemicals. That's what they are. They're specifically designed to poison some aspect of the body's chemistry in order to suppress a symptom. So prescription drugs do not prevent disease. They do not cure disease. All they do is poison you, such as to suppress a symptom. Well, you suppress the symptom and you say, victory, boy, oh boy, I no longer have this arthritis pain, or my cholesterol is down, or my blood pressure is down. But yeah, but you're being poisoned.
Do you take any medications?
Zero.
But sometimes we absolutely need them, so I think we have to
who
weigh
needs
that.
them?
I think we have to weigh that and discuss it with our doctors
No.
and find somebody who knows the pros and
Nobody
cons.
needs a prescription drug. Nobody
Okay.
needs a prescription drug. There are alternative means that are far more effective, far safer, and less expensive.
That should be another show. But let's look at some other ways to deal with toxins. What about zeolite or caloric restriction?
Well, caloric restriction is the only thing that has been scientifically proven over and over to extend life expectancy. So, yes, I do believe in caloric restriction, and indeed, I have a reduced calorie diet. I don't eat a big calorie diet. And I think that, again, is part of what is contributing to my extraordinary health. I mean, I'm going to be 80 years old in March, and I am essentially functioning like I'm in my 20s.
I need to interject here a little bit because we're coming to a close. But caloric restriction, one way some experts recommend is stop eating like 5 or 6 and go out in the evening and go 12 or 14 hours without eating, and that could be a modified form of caloric restriction.
Mm-hmm. Well, I fast 1 day a week, so I fast for like 36 hours. I'll have dinner. And then after dinner, I will have nothing. I'll go through the entire next day with nothing, and then have breakfast the following morning. So it's about 36 hours, and I do that once a week.
Okay. Well, you mentioned the economics and the cost. You've got this book, The Great American Health Hoax. So the health hoax, I assume, is that we're spending so much money, and you think there's a better way?
That's right. We're spending money and achieving nothing. And there is a better way. So we've got to start doing it because we're going bankrupt trying to pay for disease. It's, in fact, the entire industrialized world is going bankrupt trying to pay for disease. And prescription drugs are a perfect example. Nobody needs a prescription drug. They do not prevent disease. They do not cure disease. All they do is cause disease, and at enormous expense. So they should be outlawed. Basically, should be outlawed. Do
you have any final points you would like to say to the audience?
Yes, I think the final points is that health is a choice, and anybody can choose it, and it's a wonderful, wonderful thing to do because you will feel better, you will live longer, you will avoid disease, and will save the country from going bankrupt. But, when I look at other people around me my age and see how they function and how they feel, and I look at how I function and how I feel, it's like, hallelujah, baby.
I'm sorry, we're coming to a close. Sorry to interrupt you. But, folks, you can find more information on my website, Occupy Health, and you can also refer to Mr. Raymond's website, Beyond Health. You can also contact me at Dr. Susan at occupyhealth.com. I encourage you to do your own research, to become informed, so you can take care of yourself and others. Please be well.
Thank you for listening. Occupy Health with Dr. Susan Downs can be heard live every Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern Time and 11 a.m. Pacific Time on the Voice America Health and Wellness Channel. Here's to better health for you this week.